Hi dear students, welcome back to computer science class. We have already learned different mechanisms of importing modules in Python that include import, the simplest and most commonly used methods, import, that is used to import all the attributes in Python, right? All the attributes of a module in Python. And the second is from import, and which is used to access only some of the functions to the program, right? And the third one is import star, from import star, that gives access to all the names, right? And the specialty is we can access the functions directly. So these are the types of what importing modules in Python. And today we have some other important topics for discussion. And the first is namespaces in Python. In our previous programs we have seen we have imported modules to another module or to another program that we had referred to as what? Namespace in Python. That is, we have imported a module to another module or to another program, and that is referred to as namespace in Python. And before defining namespace in Python, it is essential to define a name for the namespace. That is, it should be a valid identifier name. We know in Python everything is treated as an object, and object will definitely have a value, right? So we should define a name for the namespace, and it should be a valid identifier name, okay? And everything in Python is an object. And we know namespace, or the concept of namespaces, are used to distinguish different sections of a program. And in each section we may have a function or a method or different means number of functions. In the case of a class, we can have number of functions related to that class. So that is what a section is. So namespaces are used to distinguish different sections of a program. And we know namespace, actually here the concept is very simple. We have already seen the concept of scope, right? In the case of variables, scope rules of variables, local, global, okay? The same is applied here also. That is, namespaces are used to have scope for the module, right? Scope in the sense in which all area it is accessible, right? From this picture image you can see the scope of function, which is local. We know the things which are defined inside a function is local to that function, and that is what function is. That is what local scope is. And when we move to the next phase, the high phase, that is module. We know module scope is global scope. A module can be accessed from anywhere in the program, right? We can use it in multiple programs as well, right? So module scope is global. And we have one more scope here in namespace in Python, that is built-in scope, okay? That is, everything is accessible, means all the things which are like print, id are available anywhere in the program. Means every program is having these functions always there in the program or accessible in the program. So that can be termed as built-in, okay? We are coming to it. So which consists of what? Which is used to distinguish different sections of a program, and each section is having what? Number of things associated with that section, okay? Then which defines scope, which always avoids what? Name conflict, okay? Used to avoid name conflict. And we know namespace is a collection of names. It's a collection of names, and it consists of what? Mapping name to object, and names are unique. There won't be any conflict. That means namespace consists of names, right? And there is a mapping between name to object mapping, and there won't be any duplication in name, right? Names are unique. And here in Python this namespaces are stored in the form of dictionary. We know what a dictionary is. Dictionary is having two elements, right? Key and value, key value pair, that is what it is. Then here we have two terminologies. What? Name to object. The mapping is name to object, and name is the key and object is the value. Name is the key and object is the value, okay? So it's stored in the form of dictionary, and we have the mapping called name to object mapping. You know what name to object mapping is? Name is always unique, okay? Object is something having a value. So here it's stored in the form of a dictionary. Dictionary is having what? name value pair, key value pair, right? So here name is considered as a key and object is considered as a value. Okay, and we have three types of namespaces in Python. There are three types of namespaces in Python: global, local, and built-in. Global, local, and built-in. As we have seen, local means function scope, right? Global means module scope, and built-in means it's what above all the scopes, right? Okay, so these are the what important facts or the theory part of what namespaces. Okay, apart from that, when a module or a function or a package is getting executed, a namespace will be created for that particular module or package or function. Okay, and after finishing of the execution, namespace will also be removed. That is the actual working of namespace. That is, at the time of running a program, namespace will be created to corresponding object, right? And after finishing off or completing the execution, it will be removed. That namespace will be removed. That is the actual working of namespace. Okay, and the concept is mainly used to what distinguish different sections, plus used to give scope with three scopes: global, local, and built-in. Okay, and here we can see the difference between import, that is the two ways of importing modules in Python: import module and from module import. Okay, that is the first, the simplest method, import module, and the second, from import. We know using import we get access to all the functions. Okay, we are importing all the attributes of that module, and using from from module import, we are importing only a particular function or functions. Okay, here is a pictorial representation of the difference between import and from import. Okay, let's see import as first. Import first. Import test. Here the module name is test. Import test. Module name is test. Okay, here we can see what two tables. One is original programs namespace. Here is the original programs namespace. We know there will be two programs. One is original program, the other one the actual module, right? Okay, here is the original programs namespace, and the components are current namespace. Current namespace will be there. Then here is the part what original program namespace. This is the original programs namespace. Okay, plus we'll have the module test. Here is the original programs namespace. We'll have current namespace and space for original program namespace, and we'll have the module test. Okay, then namespace created for imported module. Okay, here is the current programs namespace, and here is the what namespace of imported module. We know in a program we'll have two main things, components. One is the current program, that is what this is, the original program, and here is the imported module. Okay, here is the namespace of original program, and here is the what namespace of imported module. Okay, let's see the namespace created for imported module. We'll have text dict, that is text dictionary. Okay, this text this test is, this module is passed to this part. Okay, here is the namespace of imported module, and T1 we know it's a function. Okay, then modules namespace, modules namespace. Here is current namespace, programs namespace. Okay, it is somewhat very simple, and we are using what the import method first, and here we have a sample module test. So import test. Okay, and here we have represented two what boxes, in two boxes. The first we have represented current programs namespace. Okay, current program namespace, and the second namespace of imported module. And in current programs namespace, that is original programs namespace, we'll have current namespace, a namespace for what current what original program. Okay, then we'll have the module test, and the namespace of imported module consists of test dict, which is passed from this test, then T1 function, then modules namespace. Okay, there will be what namespace for the current or the original program as well as the imported module. Okay, and let's see the second, that is the second way of importing modules in Python, that is using from test import T1. We know what it is, from test. Here the module name is test, and we importing the function T1. In test we will have number of functions, and here we importing only one function, that is T1. Okay, yeah. So current namespace, just like this, current namespace, then okay, then T1, T2, T3, we know these are the functions, right? T1, T2, T3 are the functions, and we know namespace will be created implicitly for function T1 because we are importing T1. So namespace will be created by implicit. Implicit means automatic, okay? By default it will be created. And why? Just for T1. Why? Because we are importing T1 function from test module. So namespace will be created to T1 function, okay, or function T1 implicitly. Then let's see the second statement. No new space is created for imported objects. No new space is created for imported objects. It was just added to original program's namespace. That is, there won't be any new namespace created for imported objects. Okay, just what it will be added to the original or the current program's namespace. Just added to original program's namespace. There won't be any new space. It will be added to the existing space of the current program or the current or the original program, right? So this is the difference between import and from import. Okay, let's have a revision. Okay, let's have a quick revision on this. Actually, namespace means it is simply we have we have seen in our previous examples. A program or a module is imported to another module or another program. That is what namespace is. And we know before defining a namespace, we should have a name for the namespace, and we know in Python everything is considered as object, and object will definitely have a value. And namespace, the concept is mainly used to differentiate or distinguish between different sections of a program, and each section consists of a function or a method or number of functions in the case of a class, right? So it's used to give scope to a module, a scope to a function or anything, okay? It is like what scope rules of a variable, and here we have namespace consists of a set of names, right? And then there is a name object mapping, and it is stored in the form of a dictionary like a key value pair. Okay, here name is considered as a key, and name must be unique. We know key is a unique field, right? Key is a unique thing. The same way here name is also unique. Name must also be unique. Okay, and the second is object. Object is having some value, some kind of value. Okay, so there will always be a name object mapping. Okay, name object mapping, and we know names are unique, so there won't be any conflict, okay, any ambiguities or any confusion or any kind of error happening. Okay, then form of dictionary. There are three types of scopes or namespaces in Python: global, local, as well as built-in. Okay, from the image, from the picture itself, you can understand the concept. The scope of function is local, we know that. The scope of module is global, and built-in is somewhat a higher scope. Okay, that is in every program functions like print, id are always available, and we can think it of as a built-in namespace, right? These are always available, okay, as built-in. So this can be termed as built-in namespace. Okay, then when we move on to module, when we define a module, the scope is always global because we can use it any part of the program. From any program we can access it, so the scope is global. And when we move on to function, we know the things which are defined inside a function is local to that function, right? The things are accessible or available only from within the function. So that is what local scope is. The concept is somewhat very simple, okay, you know it. Yeah, then we have seen the difference between the two ways of importing modules to a program. That is import, the most commonly used way, the method, and the second is from import. The difference is import, using import we can access all the attributes or import all the attributes, and using from we can import only a particular function or functions. Okay, then here we have seen the namespace of the current program or original program, as well as the namespace of imported module. And in the namespace of current program we can see current namespace, and the space for the original program's namespace, and test. Okay, test is the module, we know that. Then imported module namespace consists of test dict passed from test, then T1 function, then modules namespace. Okay, when we move on to from test, our second way of importing modules in Python, from test import T1. We know test is the method, test is the module, and T1 is a function. Okay, here we can see current namespace T1 to T2 T3, and here we have imported T1, right? So Python creates space or namespace. Namespace means space for name. That's simple. Okay, so namespace for T1 implicitly. Then no new memory locations are created. No new namespace are created for imported objects other than what actually happens is what to the existing, to the current module it will be added to. Okay, that is just added to original program's namespace. So this is the actual concept. We know namespace is simply used for scope, right? Or it consists of names, and we have stored it in like a dictionary. Okay, plus when we execute a program, a module or a function, a namespace will be created, a space for name will be created, right? And soon after executing or after completing the execution, finishing of the execution, what this will be removed, that namespace will be removed. Namespace means simply we can think it of as a space for name. Okay, space for name. So this is all about namespace in Python, and you know it's used to keep track of variables. Okay, it is used to keep track of variables, plus like it works like a dictionary. It's used to keep track of variable in the sense it's used to keep track of the scope of variables or the scope of any kind of objects in Python. Okay, so this is all about namespace in Python, and this is our first topic. Okay, and our second concept is module aliasing. You know what aliasing is? Aliasing is simply giving another name, right? An alternate name, giving another name. You all may be having a another name, right? A different name. Your mom or daddy used to call you, right? That's what alias name is. All may be having two names. One is their original name, second is their alias name. So here we are applying the concept of aliasing to module. Okay, so it's called what? Module aliasing. And at the time of importing a module, we can give another name to the module which is being imported. Okay, so that is what module aliasing is, and we are using the keyword as for aliasing. Okay, yeah, let's look an example. For creating alias at the time of importing a module, and we are using the keyword as. Okay, then renaming a module. Actually, aliasing means renaming a module, giving another name to a module. Then the syntax is import module name as alias name. We are adding import module name. Okay, as alias name, as another name or alias name. Okay, we have an example here. Our program is test.py. Okay, test.py, and x equal to 100, def add a comma b, print the sum is a comma b, a plus b, def product a comma b, the product is a into b. Okay, so if we have a module, we have a program, we have a module for performing addition, subtraction, plus we have a global function, global variable x. Okay, so here we have the first program, that is test.py, and we are making it as a module, and this module is having two functions. Okay, for performing addition and multiplication. Sum and add and product are the functions in test.py, and we are creating our second program, that is test1.py. Okay, test1.py, and here this is the normal program, and this is the program which uses aliasing. Okay, let's look at the normal program first. Import test, as we do okay in our previous programs. Import test, then print test.x. We can access x because x is defined globally. Okay, so we can access x using test.x. Then as we have called the functions in the previous examples, here also we can call it test.add 10, 20. That is okay, it will be passed to this function, and it prints what the sum is. Okay, initially test.x prints 100. Okay, then the sum is 10 plus 20, 30. Then the test.product passes to product, and a gets 10 and b gets 20. Then the product is a and b, 200. 10 into 20, 200 will be printed. Okay, so this is a normal program, right? Test1.py, and here is our module, and we have imported this module to test1.py program as we do normally. Okay, but our concept is module aliasing. Aliasing means giving another name, and we are going to apply it in this program. Okay, aliasing, the concept. Import test as m. Here we know test is the original name, import test, and as an extension we are giving sm. Test as m. Test as m in the sense we are giving another name, m, for test. Here we have two names. One is original name, that is what test is, and we have m, that is our alias name. Okay, and we are going to make use of alias name for accessing all the members of the imported module. Okay, print m.x. Here we can see what? Print test.x. we have used the module test directly, but here we have used m, alias name, for accessing x. It works same, okay? It works same. Then m dot add in the place of what, test dot add, here it is m dot add, test dot product, m dot product, okay? Both works same, okay? Both gives the same result. Here m dot x prints 100 because m is just another name of test, so it prints 100. Then m dot add is like test dot add, it prints 30, the sum is 30. Then m dot product, it prints, it's like what, test dot product, okay? It prints what, 200, okay? So this is what module aliasing is. Aliasing means giving another name a different name, okay? There will be two names if you give alias. Then at the time of, here the concept is, at the time of importing a module, we can give another name to the module which is being imported to the program, and we are using the keyword as, and it follows what, actually it's used to rename an object, right? And it follows this syntax: import module name as alias name. And here we have a module test.py with these statements, okay, with two functions, add and product. And here is a normal program test1.py which uses what, import test, okay? And using test we are making use of all the variables and functions, okay? But for the second program, the third program, test1.py, the same program, we are giving another name for what, text, okay? That is import test as m. M is a alias name, and making use of m, we are accessing all the members of what, test, okay? So both works somewhat same, the same, okay? Yeah, so this is what aliasing is. Here test is the original name and m is the alias name, okay? This is just like what, aliasing any object in Python, okay? Just like aliasing a variable, just like aliasing a function, anything, okay? So the concept is somewhat very simple, giving another name. So this is all for the time being. Just go through the topics, okay? Just practice it. So thank you for watching. Have a nice day. See you in the next video.